I feel like when I was younger, I had like a little bit of Tigger, but now it's more of like poo.
You're a tubby little cubby all stuffed with fluff, Daniel.
That's right.
You're
And he
damn right.
was.
On this episode of Three Tool Players, we give our Wildcard Series preview while we're watching the games. Will Detroit be able to bounce back against the Guardians? Do the Cubs or Padres have any pitching that matters? Can the Reds slay the Goliath that is the Dodgers? And what fresh hell will the Yankees bullpen unleash? All this and more on this episode of Three Tool Players. Welcome to Three Tool Players. I'm Chris Spear, and alongside me, as always, are the Hammer brothers, Brian and Dan Hammer. Say hello to the internets, fellas.
Hello to the postseason internet, fellas.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Yes, it's the postseason is upon us. Here we go. The playoffs have begun. The Mets are not a part of it. I am not talking about it.
Why not?
The
Let's talk
pain,
about it.
the pain is still too near.
Oh, Daniel, you be careful. There's a lot of salts to be thrown into said wounds. We're gonna wait. We're gonna be patient. We're gonna give our man, our friend here, Spear, a little bit of space, a little time to mourn. There will be a funeral. We'll have eulogies, the whole nine. So that's just a teaser trailer to what's to come.
Yeah,
But
there are things to be said about the 2025 New York Metropolitans. I'm just not going to say them now. We're going to focus on the positives.
well, this is a kid's show too. We have to keep it clean, Mr. Spear.
I
So
have
I know
I
you
have my finger right on the
plenty-
bleep button, buddy. Don't worry about it. It's
You
fine.
got plenty of salty language, sir.
I got my
Oh,
finger right on the
goodness.
bleep button. Don't worry about that. But there will be time to talk about the New York Metropolitans. Now is not that time. Let us talk about the playoffs that are already underway. The wild card round has begun. We already have some finals as we look into the first day. Let's start with probably one of the most remarkable stories in the American League right now, which is the Cleveland Guardians and the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers nearly pulled a Mets and found themselves out of the playoffs.
His poor broken soul. Are we gonna have this the rest of the episode? Just like anytime something goes wrong, will go wrong. It's like Eeyore. Oh, it's the Mets.
Yes, they pulled a Mets. Well, they
Oh.
nearly pulled a Mets. Not everybody is as talented enough to pull a Mets. Let's just be honest, okay?
Bye,
gosh.
bear. Oh, bother.
Oh bother. All right, let's get back to the Tigers. Okay, the Tigers barely salvaged the season, and they're playing the Guardians, which had one of the more remarkable runs through the end of the season. They were probably one of the hotter teams in baseball, if not the hottest. Tonight, they lost to the Tigers. Skubal went off, and I don't know if that's indicative of what's going to happen the rest of this series, because this was a weird game to watch.
This
Very
ga-
weird game.
This game was straight up Little League. And I said this to Brian, like while watching, I'm like, this game just reminds me of Nottingham Little League playing small ball and just like trying to manufacture runs. That's what this whole game was about. That first inning, that when they manufactured a run, guy made an error out in right field, and the Tigers capitalized. And then a 2-out single brought him home. So Skubal started with a 1-0 start. So that's really all he needed to just get going.
For context, when Dan mentioned Nottingham Little League, they are a local legendary team that has done the New Jersey State proud, been to the Little League World Series on more than one occasion.
Actually, one of
but
our
Dan-
good friends was on
Yeah,
that team too. Absolutely.
exactly. So here's the thing: they are to be celebrated, but Dan is referencing the team before these Little League World Series shenanigans, and this was a team that was just known to bunt left and right. Dan and I come from the other side of town with the Hamilton Little Lads, and we came across these Nottingham Little Leaguers on more than several occasions, and it was always known as like, get ready, these chuckleheads are going to bunt. That's what we saw today in the Detroit and Cleveland game. One little error could just mean the difference. There was an error in right field with 2 outs, single turned into an extra base. The very next batter, Torkelson, ended up hitting a bloop single for the game's first run. That actually turned out to be the difference because the final score was 2-1, and that second run came in on a bunt of all things. But the main story here is Skubal. Like, Skubal literally tied the franchise record for strikeouts in a postseason game with 14. He was still lighting up the gun in the 8th inning at around 100, 101. I mean, this guy was absolutely jacked. He was pumped up. He already had 100 pitches at this point. He threw 7 2/3 today. He willed his team to the win. He definitely made his mark today. Detroit, they didn't come in, meowing. They came in a roaring. See what I did there?
Take a lap.
Take a lap.
I'll take many.
Let's take a look at the next game. You take a look at who's pitching. Casey Mize was 14-6 for the year. He had a 3.87 ERA. He's going up against Tanner Beebe. Tanner pitched well, not the same caliber as Casey Mize. The Tigers won the first game. Percentages are in their favor to win the series. Whoever wins the first game of the Wildcard Series, they say it's significant in comparison to the Division Series or the Championship Series. It is 73% chance to win the series when you win the first game. So even though that they're playing away this whole series, the Tigers, they do have a great chance on taking it in the next game with Casey Mize going.
Let's stay with the American League and let's talk about the game that's ongoing at the moment. As we're sitting here right now, the Yankees are up on the Boston Red Sox in the top of the 4th inning. It's a 1-0 score as of right now. Max Fried is doing his thing. This is the Yankees' reward for coming just shy of winning the AL East as they get the Boston Red Sox in the wild card round. You didn't quite get there, you get the Sox.
But let's talk about that too, because you take a look at the playoff picture. You have the Red Sox versus the Yankees as 4 and 5, and you have Detroit playing the Guardians. I was like, this was perfectly matched up on the AL side. You have division rivals going against one another to move on. I'm like, this is great. And whoever wins through Boston and Yankees, they get the Blue Jays. How great is that?
You know what, though? I get how like the expanded playoffs work and, all the different like rankings and seedings and such. But I mean, just from a historic standpoint, I mean, doesn't it kind of feel like we're jumping into the dessert, portion of the meal? Everyone knows that Yankees, Boston, that's such a great matchup. People will show up for this. Fine. We have some Canadians waiting, in the wings. Fine. But it just seems a little anticlimactic in my opinion. I love the idea of Boston versus the Yankees later on. I think it'll put more butts in the seats. But we're here to talk about it. Fine. Listen, we have really two great teams, some pretty good matchups, in terms of head to head. The Yankees mash a little bit more in terms of, the power and the run production. Boston has a little bit better on the ERA side of things and pitching. But I mean, you can't sleep on the Yankees pitching either, because they also keep runs down as well. So, all told, we've got a pretty even matchup. You've got great pitching on both sides, but it's a short series. So you got to come out firing at the start, right? Because win or go home.
Yeah, and you get your best duel. This game is the best duel you're going to get all series, where it's Crochet and Fried.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The Yankees are going to throw out Fried, Rodon, and Schlitter over the course of the 3 games if it goes 3. The question I have for the Yankees, if you have a little hitch in your giddy up, if you're the Yankees right now, it's going to be the bullpen. The New York Yankees bullpen has the worst ERA of any team in the playoffs right now. So if you can't get your best out of Fried, Rodon, and Schlitter in the late innings, you may have a problem against a Red Sox offense that is born to hit.
Yep. I agree. I'm not gonna listen. You ever go to sleep at night, and you have a dream. It turns into a nightmare, and that nightmare is, you're out in a public place and you realize you're naked. That's what this feels like right now. You've basically said, "Hey, Brian, you're naked in this dream." That's about as obvious as how bad your bullpen is and what's going to happen when somebody's going to get deep into a game with you. So I got to tell you, I'm sitting here, just with bare knuckles and deep sweat, worrying about what's going to happen if we get into that pen. And I worry even more if it happens in the earlier innings, like 4th, 5th, or 6th inning. I want to get some good quality starts out of my horses. They got to go longer in games, and they got to keep us in it.
Well, the other thing you're hoping too is the Yankees mash, and you get an opportunity to face Brian Bello in game 2 against Rodon. Bello's been good against the Yankees this year. He's got a 1.89 ERA in 3 starts against the Yankees. You got to hope that you can get to him so that you don't have to rely on that bullpen all you're really hoping is that Aaron Judge gets going in the playoffs, which he has not yet done. If he can get it going and they can tag Bello and they win tonight, I mean, you don't have to worry about getting the Schlitter, who's be a rookie pitching in the playoffs for the first time. I don't know. That's
Well,
to me the path of success is getting to Bello in the second game and getting Judge going.
Hey, Bry, do you think that the Yankees are going to alter their starting pitching rotation if they make the division series?
they're going to have to. You think about the fact that, you're going to have a misalignment of, number one, number three starters against, Toronto, who's going to be, rolling with their number one, number twos. So it's almost an inevitability that they're going to have to shuffle some folks around.
Well, if they start the division series on Saturday, Fried would be pitching on short rest. So they're gonna have to bring Gill back into the fold. I wouldn't be surprised if Gill starts game one
And then they go to Fried.
and then they go to
And they
Fried, who would be
reset.
pitching on regular rest. I mean,
Mhm.
Right.
that's the way they're gonna have to do it.
They're going to have to do that. Yeah, it would be great if we could get back on regular schedule, but I mean, this is that flip of the coin, right? I mean, we talked about this. I think before this podcast even recorded was, what does that benefit to teams that do get to sit out, like your Philadelphia Phillies, Dan, like your Toronto Blue Jays at this point, right? Because you get some time to rest your arms and rest some of those starters, but you also run the risk of getting rusty. We've seen in years and years past where top seeds get bounced out of the division series like that because another team has just been staying loose and playing games, to a certain cadence. Who's to say that the folks up north aren't putting too many things of mayonnaise on their French fries and getting fat and happy up there in Toronto?
Are you sure it was mayonnaise? I mean, like, I thought it was vinegar. Or do they do both?
I think they do both. I think
Yeah.
Montreal does mayonnaise. I think Toronto does a little bit of both. Anything north of that border, Dan, it's just wild kingdom up there. I don't know what to expect. I appreciates them. I respects them. The beautiful, beautiful country. It's cold as hell. But I would say that in terms of their eating and their delicacies, I don't know what it's all about.
Yeah, and not to mention the Canadian goose. They're majestic.
Oh, of Canadian gooses.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the National League. And the one game that finished earlier today was the Chicago Cubs and the San Diego Padres. And it was a raucous crowd at Wrigley Field where they had Seiya Suzuki and Carson Kelly go back to back in the fifth inning. Wrigley Field was rocking today. The Cubs go on to beat the Padres 3-1. And that feels like you said, Dan, earlier, that feels like the Cubs are putting themselves in the driver's seat to get themselves to the divisional series.
Yeah, you take a look at it. I mean, in comparison to the Yankees, let's say, like, for instance, you take a look at this whole, like, both of these teams, they have the pitching, they have the hitting. San Diego had one of the best bullpens in the MLB, and the Cubs weren't all that far behind. So the pitching is there. And what beats good hitting is good pitching. And you could see, like, in this game, it was only a 3-1 game, and a couple mistakes is what made the Cubs capitalize and take that win.
Yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned that too, Dan, because it does boil down to good pitching. I mean, the Padres were held to only 4 hits today. That's it.
Mhm.
And 4 out of 30, that's a 133 batting average for the day. That is not going to get it done, not in the postseason, and definitely not against this Cubs team. I mean, you had your 1 through 3 hole, Tatis, Arias, and Machado, all batting donuts today. 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 0 for 3. I think Machado got on base with a walk. That was it. So you need a lot more production out of your top 3 to have any chance at all. Now, the one thing I want to ask too is they had Nick Pivetta going for them today, right? And arguably he was the ace of their squad. He only has like 13 wins on the year, but this is a guy who also hasn't won a game since August 19th.
Even in his last 7 games, though, he hasn't pitched poorly. He's 1-1 with a 2.90 ERA and a 1.12 WHIP. Again, sometimes it's not the pitcher's fault.
Well, no, and that's not my point. I mean, my point is that you got this guy who hasn't won since August 19th, but the biggest exclamation I wanted to make to this was, who's next?
Dylan Cease is scheduled to pitch game 2. and he did not have a great season. He was 8-12 at a 4.55 ERA. Thursday, they're scheduled to throw out Darvish, who went 5-5 with a 5.38 ERA. So
Thank you.
neither
My
of
point
which
exactly.
neither of which strikes fear into the hearts of the Cubs lineup.
But then I also ask you too, for the Cubs, what does their starting rotation look like? I mean, does that strike fear in the hearts of many teams? I would argue almost the same for the Cubs. Really not too deep, in my opinion.
Well, you think about it, it's a great story because you think they lost Justin Steele. They lost their ace in the beginning of the season, and yet
Mhm.
they still finished in second in the NL Central.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to throw out Andrew Kittredge in game 2, who
Yeah.
has okay stats. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. And it looks like Imanaga is going to be slated for game 3.
Hmm.
He went 9-8 with a
Mhm.
3.73 ERA in 25 games pitched, but with a .99 WHIP.
Yeah, but he hasn't won since the beginning of September, and he got absolutely demolished by your Metropolitans back on September 25th, where he only lasted 5 2/3, gave up 8 runs, all of them earned, 9 hits, and it ballooned his ERA by close to 40 points. I don't know if that's a guy I want going into the deciding game, but here we are. That's
Fat
the
lot of good that
beauty
did
of
the Mets beating up on Imanaga.
oh, I'm not gonna work here anymore.
I'm not going to make the playoffs.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is better's choice at this point.
If in a short series like this, winning the first game means everything.
Oh yeah.
At home, you're a game up. The Padres starting rotation does not instill any kind of fear right now. You got to give the edge to the Cubs, Dan. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I have the Cubs winning. After winning this first game, announcing their presence with authority, they're going to beat down on a San Diego Padres team that is not hitting all that well. Their pitching is there, but the bats are cold.
The last series that we have to talk about is the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds against the defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers. The Reds are the story of the playoffs here for the National League. They eked into the playoffs after the dramatic collapse by the New York Mets, with Terry Francona leading his team into the playoffs yet again. The Reds are in the playoffs for the first time since the shortened coronavirus season in 2020. It's their first time in the playoffs in a full 162 game season since 2013. Welcome back to the playoffs, Cincinnati and your Reds against the world champion Dodgers. What odds do you give the Reds against the defending champs?
My God. I mean, let me say something here. First, Spear, you are a little bit of a Nostradamus boy here because early in the season, you were saying that Terry Francona might be scary for a manager of the year award. You said that this guy knows how to win. He knows how to motivate his players, and you wouldn't be surprised. You thought that maybe they'd be a year away. So they're actually a year ahead of schedule. Again, with the collapse, we're going to talk about funerals later on. But what I'm here to tell you is this. This is an absolute David versus Goliath moment. If you look at just about everything on paper, just paper, not in real life and muscles and tattoos and everything else that makes up these teams, and moxie, of course. But when you look at just the league rankings across batting averages and on-base percentages and runs scored and home runs and slugging percentage, it's like I feel like that Simpsons meme where that little kid is watching somebody getting bludgeoned to death and he's like, please stop, he's already dead. Like that's what I think about this like short series. The only thing that little David's got for himself here is pitching is in terms of earned run average is just neck and neck, slightly better than LA. Batting average against, it's also neck and neck, but give credence to LA, they just edge it out. But interestingly enough, they don't walk a lot of guys. So if LA's going to have to, move forward and trounce the Reds, they're going to have to do it with their bats, and they're not going to get a lot of walks. The other thing, too, is that Cincinnati's been playing at a crazy high level just to get into the playoffs. How much energy do they have left? I mean, what's left in the tank? Did you use it all just to get here? How much more to take on a former world power like LA? We know that LA is built to win. We all said this when Shohei decided to come over and defer all that money later on to build a team around him. You got an embarrassment of riches in the offseason after they won the World Series against my beloved Bombers. Blake Snell is going to toe the rubber tonight. Blake Snell, former Cy Young, wasn't really the kind of season everybody was predicting with him because he started out and then he got injured right away. But this is a guy that came back in August and through September, and he's come back to the team at the turn of the tide. I can go on and on and on about this, but that's exactly where I am about that. Dan, what are your thoughts about this David Goliath scenario?
The Reds had the momentum. They are the quintessential wild card. So they are the wild card of the wild card. You see what I did there? I'm gonna go
I
take a
see
lap now.
exactly what you did there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna go take a lap.
take a
But
lap, take a swig from the hose on your way.
but the thing is, I mean, like, they are playing on borrowed time. They didn't think that they were going to get in there. They just had hope. I know that you don't like that word spear, but all the hope was on the red side just to make it. So you remember the team last year, the Mets, they played on borrowed time last year. They did it a year early. They were such a fun team to watch. They had the momentum going into September, going into October, and they made the championship series because the Mets, they just everything was meshing. It didn't matter that they did not have the pitching or the hitting, but the thing is, they were clutch when they needed to get a run or a hit. And this is the reason why Devin Williams is so awful for the
Don't
Yankees right
say that
now.
name.
Yeah,
Don't say
because
that name.
Pete
Don't
Alonso
say that
just,
name.
ripped
Don't say
right
that name.
into him during the postseason last year.
Let me.
So I feel that, I mean, like baseball is a momentum sport. If you have the momentum, then that could carry you through. But they're going against a Goliath in the Dodgers.
You know, it's weird too. We keep using the analogy David versus Goliath. We also know who won that
Yeah.
uh that little battle. It was a little pebble.
It's the
Um,
same thing with,
ugh,
Ivan Drago and
yeah.
Rocky Balboa. I don't hear no bell.
Well, it's just like he's just a piece of iron.
Yeah.
Maybe Cincinnati is that piece of iron that but although they are red and so are the Russians, so I don't know.
Ah.
This whole analogy is like going off the rails.
If there's an X factor in this series, it's going to be Ellie De La Cruz. Ellie De La Cruz can win a game for you, and he can absolutely lose a game for you. He can win a game for you by getting on base and being disruptive, stealing bases, being aggressive, but he can also lose a game for you. He's got a league leading 26 errors on defense. He's a liability in the field. He's my X factor. Other than that, like you guys said, the Dodgers have way too much.
Hmm.
They have pitching. They have depth in their roster. They're bringing a healthy Will Smith back into the lineup. They've been to the playoffs. They know what it's like. The Reds are young. They don't know what they're doing, and maybe that works in their favor. But the Dodgers have way too much going for them. It's hard to bet against them right now. If you're a betting person, it's going to be hard to bet against the Dodgers in this series. They're the champs until proven otherwise. I'd have to say it's the Dodgers series to lose, but you cannot count this Reds team out.
I mean, we've heard worse things, right? I mean, how often have we heard that the World Series champs get bounced or don't even make the playoffs? The last time somebody went back to back, you got to go all the way back to the Yankees. Back in 99, 2000 was the last three-peat World Series wins for a team. I mean, that's one thing that I will say that's been exciting about baseball. Even I'm saying this as a Yankee fan, but in all honesty, it's great for baseball that, there are new teams that win just by year. Yes, you have Boston. I hate to say it, but yes, Boston came in several times since 2000 to win. LA's won a couple already. I know San Francisco had their time, over a 5-6 year period. Houston's got a couple, but all told, it's great to see that, it's not always going to be a repeat. Now, the other thing that we really haven't even touched on about this yet is there's a couple of teams in these playoffs that haven't won a World Series yet. They're in the hunt right now. I mean, right now we just talked about San Diego. They're one of those teams, and unfortunately things aren't looking so great after game one. The other group over there is Seattle, who has never been to a World Series, and they're just waiting. So I'm really, really excited to see what the rest of this postseason turns out to be.
Yeah, just to look ahead a little bit too, Dan. The Phillies are sitting there waiting for the winner of the Dodgers and Reds. Who would you rather?
I'd take the Reds, hands down, without
So,
doubt.
Wuss.
so
You wuss.
you're asking for it again though, because that's what happened last year when the Mets squeaked into you. The Mets were the hot team coming into the playoffs. They just squoze in through the door there. So you'd be asking for the same kind of treatment again.
Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, like if I can get the Reds, I take the Reds over the Dodgers hands down. The Dodgers, it's tough. Think about like even like traveling cross country. I mean, it does affect players when they're traveling cross country. Traveling over to Cincy, that's only like, like an hour flight. But the thing is, you don't want to go against a team that has a crowd just like the crowd that we have at Citizens Bank Park. They're insane in LA. Same as like, our crowd is insane at Citizens Bank Park. You want to go against a team that is not as high caliber as
I
Dodgers. So I would
I
definitely
completely
take,
disagree.
yeah.
I
Why,
disagree
why would
entirely.
you disagree?
I think the Phillies need to beat the Dodgers. Because if the Phillies beat the Dodgers, it's not going to matter who they get in the championship series, whether it's Milwaukee or it's Chicago or it's whomever. If the Phillies get past the Dodgers, they're going to the World Series.
Without a doubt. If the Dodgers beat the Reds and if the Phillies beat the Dodgers, the Phillies are in the World Series. I'm saying that right now.
Yeah, but you got that's why you want to that's why you want the Dodgers. You want the Phillies to play to the level of the Dodgers to elevate their game and get them to a point where they know they're unbeatable. Because if you
Hmm.
slay the giant, then the Phillies go
You
in
are
with
the
all the
giant.
you are the giant. They go in with all the momentum into the
Yep.
championship series, and they're
That's
they're
right.
a lock.
There
Hmm.
will be big nuts a swinging in
Yes,
Philly if they beat LA. Think about the swagger. It's like, hey, we beat Cincinnati. Boop boop. Tiny little acorns. Not big nuts. World Series defending
that's
champions.
right. That's
LA
right.
Yeah.
Dodgers, big old money. We own Japan. Like, yeah, that's what Philly wants. The thing that scares me about Philadelphia right now is they're on a break right now. They're sitting. They're helping their elderly kind of rest up a little bit. But you also get rusty, and sometimes there's too many cheesesteaks per capita there for you, Dan. So I'm afraid you guys might get a little soft around the guts. So I really, really hope that you'll be in fight and Phil's mode when any of those two teams come in. But yeah, I gotta kind of agree with Spear. I kind of like LA being that team because then if you do beat them, not only do you have the confidence, but it's almost like a changing of the guard moments,
Hmm.
right? Where they're handing the baton over to you and said, okay, you're the better team, but we're going to go buy some more people in the postseason. We'll show you. They'll probably sign Schwarber just to piss you off.
Hmm.
Um, you know, so it'll be like, yeah, we'll just platoon our DHs. It's fine. But look, it's gonna be exciting. I mean, we haven't even talked about Milwaukee. Maybe we'll wait till next podcast to talk about them. Seattle, too, Toronto, and the rest.
Yeah,
So
we'll talk about it later.
we'll
I
talk
do
about
want to
them
get back
later.
to these games.
Yeah, I do as well. And right now, as I kind of lock in, the Yanks just got a desperately needed double play to get them out of an inning. And right now, as it stands, they're in the bottom of the sixth. So far, you've got Fried has gone 6 strong innings, and I think his pitch count is just at about 100. So that'll probably be it for him, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm sorry, he's at 99 pitches. Does he come out for one more inning? He might. They'll
Not
probably
a
keep him on a
chance.
short leash. You don't think they'll
Yeah.
keep him in a
No.
game this close, 1-0, and you're gonna trust our Basura bullpen? Really?
Well, that's a
I don't know.
tough one.
I'd
I
give it
mean,
a
you're playing with fire. You throw him out there for the seventh inning, and his arm feels like jello. I
well.
mean, he spread out 4 hits over 6 innings. He's walked 3 and struck out 6.
He has the
Does he
he, ha
have another 20 pitches in his arm to get through the seventh inning?
he
Well,
has
that's
the
the guy.
bottom of
That's
the
the
lineup coming up. So
yeah.
I,
So
I
I
would
put him on
say
a short
throw,
leash.
yeah,
Yeah.
I throw him out there just to start the seventh, see how he does, and if he struggles with Duran, then pull him, put in another relief. But we'll see what happens.
You got you
I
got
don't.
you got to love this time of year. You absolutely do.
I wouldn't
Unbelievable.
do it. I'd save his arm. Save his arm because you're going to need him. He is your
You're gonna
ace
need
right
him,
now.
but what
Yeah.
if when you lose game one, you lose the momentum, right? I mean, this is it, man.
I can't.
I'd rather take 20 pitches, see where he goes, versus bringing in my paper thin.
Breed.
Uh,
Breed is out there.
Breed is out there.
There you go. And first strike, curveball.
See,
That's
First pitch,
crazy.
curveball.
it is
Strike.
on like the Donkey Kong, as the kids would say.
See,
back
there
in
you go, man. So
1978.
they are scared of going to their bullpen. So
Absolutely.
I
would
agree.
be
That's
scared.
what we
I-
said.
I would be absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they don't
So
go
let
that
him
way.
pitch this. Let him pitch the seventh.
They are the fire swamp, or what was the Lord of the Rings? What do they say? It's like, orcs don't go there. Orcs don't know it.
Yeah.
They're too frightened to go through the swamp. We are going to go through the swamp. We're going to use swamp arms with our starters because we know a swamp, a freaking dead swamp is waiting for us in the bullpen.
Right. It's dead marsh. It's the dead
Dead
marsh.
marsh. It's the
You
dead marsh.
get
It's fine.
jackass.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't speak nerd.
I
Daniel.
speak nerd fluently.
Of
So
course you do. You even bought yourself a stupid pipe to look like Gandalf one day. Don't think we
damn
know
right.
you have that on display somewhere. Ladies, he is available after all. Can you believe it?
I even have a wand right there too. Harry
Of
Potter.
course you do. Of course you do. It's
I
Leviosa, right?
Oh my God.
Leviosa.
That's right. That's what
I
know it
desperately
likes.
want to get out of this podcast.
No, you don't. You want to listen
You
to the rest of this goodness.
You can swing a magic wand at every episode of the Three Tool Players podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube or wherever fine podcasts are sold. And you can check us out on TikTok at Three Tool Players and on X.com at Three Tool Pod. They went to the mound to go get Fried, it looks like, after he got Duran to ground out. So that looks like it's going to be it for Fried as we wrap up this podcast. And we'll see where the Yankees end up at the end of it. Good luck to you and your bullpen there, Brian.
And what it means is I'm going to start grabbing some Rolaids and I'm going to start throwing them back like Tic Tacs. I'm going to take a page out of you and your old man's book there, Spear, when it came to Mr. Franco, when he'd come out every now and then. So
Attaboy.
this is the hell that I now live in the post Mariano Rivera era.
Attaboy. For Brian and Dan Hammer, I'm Chris Spear, and we thank you for listening to this episode of Three Tool Players.